There's a version of home buying that almost nobody talks to first-time buyers about, and it's the one that actually makes the math work in 2026. It's called house hacking. And the basic idea is this. You buy a property where at least one unit or one room can be rented out. Your tenant covers part or all of your mortgage, and you live for dramatically less than you'd pay renting somewhere else. And it sounds too good. So I did what I always do. I pulled the actual data, 100 properties across 10 cities. I ran every one of them through a real expense model. And I'm going to show you exactly what I found, including the markets where house hacking for a first-time buyer actually works, and the ones where the numbers are a fantasy. Before we get to the results, here's the model I used, because the number that matters is not gross rent minus mortgage. That calculation is how people lose money while thinking they're making it. Real monthly expenses on a rental property include your mortgage payment at current 30-year fixed rates of around 6.8%, with a minimum 3.5% FHA down payment, since we're talking first-time buyers. Property taxes from listing data. This varies enormously by state and matters more than most people realize. Landlord insurance at around 0.75% of property value annually. A vacancy allowance of 8% of gross rent. That's roughly 1 month empty per year, which is conservative. A maintenance reserve of 10% of gross rent. Property management at 8%, even if you self-manage, because your time has a cost and this models the true economics. And a CapEx reserve of 5% of gross rent for eventual big-ticket repairs. Monthly cash flow is gross rent minus all of that. Anything above zero means the property is contributing to your housing costs. Anything below zero means you're subsidizing it every month. For house hacking specifically, where you live in one unit and rent out the other, I'm calculating what your effective monthly housing cost is after rental income. That's the number that matters to a first-time buyer. I looked at 10 cities. Here's the honest breakdown. San Francisco. Average duplex price, $1.4 million. Average rent per unit is $2,800. Your effective monthly housing cost after rental income, around $4,200. You're still paying more than most people's full mortgage elsewhere just for your half. Hard no for first-time buyers. Austin, Texas. Average small multifamily, $520,000. Average rent per unit, $1,800. Effective monthly cost around $1,600. Getting interesting, but Texas property taxes at 1.8% are a serious drag. Workable but tight. Nashville, average duplex, $480,000. Average rent per unit is $1,600. Effective monthly cost after rental income around $1,500. Similar to Austin, the numbers work on paper, but there's very little margin for vacancy or repairs. Atlanta, Georgia. Average duplex, $350,000. Average rent per unit, $1,400. Effective monthly housing cost, around $900 to $1,000 a month. Now we're talking. Atlanta has genuine house hacking potential, particularly in neighborhoods like East Point and College Park, where acquisition prices are reasonable and rental demand is strong. Columbus, Ohio. Average duplex, $310,000. Average rent per unit, $1,200. Effective monthly cost, around $700 to $800. Strong, Columbus has a deep rental market driven by Ohio State's medical and research expansion and a growing young professional population. Vacancy is low. This works. Indianapolis. Average duplex, $290,000. Average rent per unit is $1,100. Effective monthly cost, around $600 to $700. The best combination of acquisition cost and rental demand in the dataset. 7 out of 10 properties I modeled here produced a positive outcome for a first-time buyer house hacker. Kansas City, Missouri. Average duplex, $280,000. Average rent per unit, $1,200. Effective monthly cost, around $500 to $600. The strongest result in the entire dataset. 8 out of 10 properties worked. The Kansas side of the metro, Overland Park, Lenexa, had the lowest vacancy rates and the most reliable rental income. Huntsville, Alabama. Average duplex, $320,000. Average rent per unit, $1,300. Effective monthly cost, around $700 to $800. Alabama's near-zero property taxes are a major advantage. They save $150 to $200 a month compared to equivalent properties in Texas or Illinois, and make deals work that wouldn't otherwise. Memphis, Tennessee. The gross numbers look incredible. Average duplex, $200,000. Rent per unit, $1,100. Effective monthly cost, under $400. But Memphis has documented vacancy and property management challenges that the model can't fully capture. Remote first-time buyers without local knowledge should approach carefully. Phoenix, Arizona. Average duplex, $420,000. Average rent per unit, $1,500. Effective monthly cost, around $1,100 to $1,200. The market has softened from its peak, and there's genuine negotiating room, but acquisition prices are still high enough that margins are thin for a first-time buyer. Let me walk through 3 actual properties to show you how this works in practice. Deal 1, Kansas City Duplex, Overland Park. Purchase price $275,000. FHA loan at 3.5% down payment $9,625. Each unit rents for $1,150 a month. Gross income $2,300. Mortgage at 6.8% on $265,375 is $1,735. Property taxes $230. Insurance $172. Vacancy allowance $184. Maintenance reserve $230. CapEx reserve $115. Total expenses $2,666. You live in one unit. Your effective housing cost is $2,666 minus $1,150 in rental income from the other unit, $1,516 a month. In Overland Park, in a home you own, building equity. Compare that to renting a similar 2-bedroom apartment in Overland Park for $1,400 to $1,600 a month, with nothing to show for it in 30 years. The house hack essentially matches your rental cost while building equity simultaneously. Deal 2, Columbus Duplex near Worthington. Purchase price $320,000. FHA down payment $11,200. Each unit rents for $1,250 a month. Gross $2,500. Mortgage $2,030. Taxes $380. Insurance $200. Vacancy $200. Maintenance $250. CapEx $125. Total $3,185. Effective monthly cost after one unit's rent, $1,935. Higher than Kansas City, but still competitive for a major growing city, and Columbus appreciation has historically been solid. Deal 3, Atlanta Duplex, East Point purchase price, $295,000. FHA down payment $10,325. Each unit rents for $1,300, gross $2,600, mortgage $1,859, taxes $310, insurance $184, vacancy $208, maintenance $260, CapEx $130, total $2,951, effective monthly cost $1,651. Atlanta's rental market is strong, and East Point's proximity to the airport employment corridor keeps vacancy low. This deal works. Here's what this data actually says to a first-time buyer in 2026. House hacking isn't a hack anymore. It's one of the most rational financial strategies available to someone trying to enter the housing market when prices are high and rates are elevated. You reduce your monthly housing cost, you build equity, and you get your foot in the door of a market that feels impossible from the outside. But it requires flexibility. You're a landlord. You share a building with a tenant. That's not for everyone. But if you're currently paying $1,500 a month in rent, and you could own a duplex in Kansas City for a similar effective cost while someone else helps pay your mortgage, That trade-off is worth at least running the numbers on. The markets that work for this strategy in 2026 are Kansas City, Indianapolis, Columbus, Huntsville, and Atlanta. The markets that don't, San Francisco, LA, most of coastal Florida, aren't going to work no matter how you structure it. If you want to understand what assistance programs can help you get that FHA down payment even lower, that video is next. Link in the description. Subscribe for 3 honest home buying videos every week.